Hi, I'm Susanna Bowling. This is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents. Since Rent, one of the most popular musicals around is a show called Tick, Tick, Boom that talks about Jonathan Larson's life. And now at the Cape Playhouse, a new production is about to begin. We're going to start with Eric Rosen and find out why he chose this to be the show that opens the season. Eric.
Hi, well, happy to be here. I'm the new artistic director at the Cape Playhouse. This is my first season. And last year, I was with Andy and Christina Alvaro, who were here with me today. We were all doing this same production at Bucks County Playhouse in New Hope, Pennsylvania. And we did the show, and started getting calls about doing this production. We did the show, and then I started getting calls about coming to take over the artistic directorship at the Playhouse. And I just loved this production so much. It's so special. These two are extraordinary, and I really wanted it to have a longer life. And also, in the musical Tick, Tick, Boom, there are all of these references to Cape Cod. Christina's character Susan wants to move to Cape Cod. Andy's character John has these profound memories of growing up on the beach in Hyannis. And references that I had to look up because I didn't know Cape Cod very well. And just recently we found out that, in fact, the Larson family spent their summers on the Cape. And in fact, spent their summers in Dennis, the town where the Cape Playhouse is. And little John Larson at age 3 saw his first show at the Cape Playhouse in the early 60s. And it was Wizard of Oz. And he spent the entire summer reenacting the show, acting out as the Tin Man. And his sister told us it was really where, for him, his love of theater began. And to me, to start the season, my first season, with a return of this iconic and legendary voice to the place where his love of theater began, just felt like a great way to get started.
Andy, you're about to play Jonathan Larson.
From
now, what I understand, yet again.
Yes.
You've done Smash, you've done Deaf West, Spring Awakening. What of yourself do you bring to this role?
Well, some people might not know that I have been very lucky to make a living as an actor for a few years now, but also I am a writer is my other thing, another love of mine, maybe even a first love before I was even acting. I feel like I was writing. I have written a couple of books, I've written some musicals, and so I feel like I really know intimately what it is to share oneself in that way, and the risk of that, how naked you feel when you feel like you have something to say and you're figuring out how to say it, and then you're boldly putting it in front of people to like assess and judge and like or not like. I really feel kindred with Jonathan Larson in that way. There's so much in the script when he's talking about what it feels like to go through that process, to share things that I go like, oh yeah, I've been there. And so I just really feel like, apart from loving the words that he wrote and the music that he wrote in this show, I love kind of like feeling like I'm meeting him on that plane, like from writer to writer, and getting to like bring him and that experience of the writing process to these audiences.
There's such a sorrow as well as a joy to Jonathan Larson's life. Joy because he made it. Sorrow because he never saw it. Do you feel that in the play? Does that get brought out at all to you?
Well, something that I find profoundly moving about the play is that, without giving too much away, you're looking at a very specific chapter of his life. It's actually just a week. The show covers about a week of time in which he's presenting a workshop of a musical called Superbia, which he has put absolutely everything into. His 30th birthday is approaching, and that very same week he's putting on the first workshop of this show, Superbia, that he's hoping will be the thing that takes him out of poverty, sets him on his course to doing what he always knows he's going to do, which is to change musical theater. And along that week, kind of everything that can go wrong does. You kind of watch his life unravel piece by piece, and things get really dire for him. And he ends up, reaching that 30th birthday at least where he started, but maybe even worse off than where he started. His dreams do not come true, and he really questions what he's even doing, why he's even continuing, and he chooses to do it anyway. Like at the end of the play, I'm really giving it all away, but it's an important point that he doesn't know who he's going to become. He doesn't know that he's going to write Rent and tragically pass away. All he knows at this point in the scale of time that our story covers is that he is presented with the question of like whether or not he wants to keep going, and he chooses to keep going, but there is absolutely no evidence that his life is going to change for the better in any way, and I find that very, very moving.
I don't know if this is a spoiler alert, I hope not, but there was a movie. In it, Sondheim recognizes him. With Sondheim passing away, does that take on a different connotation with it?
Yeah, Sondheim is evoked by name several times in the show, and then, again, a spoiler, like really fast forward if you want a totally fresh experience. You actually hear him in the play. He's kind of a character in the play, and so when that voice arrives, there is something different now that he's no longer with us, and because we're evoking the spirit of Jonathan in doing his play and reading his words and singing his music, and me literally having to play the guy, where we're already like kind of conjuring this one giant of the theater, and then there's this other who is now also a giant in the sky, as it were, away, and it's a really powerful thing.
Christina, Mean Girls, American Psycho. This is in a strange way a departure from kind of the shows that you do. You have my favorite song. Tell us a little bit about what you bring to this role and how this role has changed you.
Yeah, I actually think oddly this is sort of in line with the work that I do, especially with the musicals that I've done. I feel like I started my career doing a lot of rock musicals, and all of that came from the inspiration of Jonathan, who brought this genre to Broadway and to New York that in a different way that we hadn't heard before. So I almost feel like this is right where I belong in that way, and also with Susan. And what I love about the show is the whimsy of it. Me and Larry, who plays the other character, Michael, we're playing all these different people and in Jonathan's life. And it's this like, I just always feel like it's this whimsy that comes to the stage of like everybody that's with him and supporting Jonathan one way or the other within his trajectory as a writer. And I think for Susan, which is my character, though my character that sings Come to Your Senses, her name is Caressa, though we could look at it a billion different ways, but Come to Your Senses is such an iconic song, and I feel super lucky to get to sing it. And it feels good to sing it. I think it's rare that you get to just sing a song that just feels good, vocally, energetically, and also just is, for me, super satisfying as an artist. And I think one of his great songs that he wrote as a standalone song itself, so I feel really lucky to get to sing it.
For each of you, what role or show have you not had a chance to do that you would like to do?
We were talking about that the other day. I haven't done Rent, which is something that, like, I love Rent, and doing this show makes you think of Rent. You hear themes in some of the music in this that you're like, oh, I feel like I heard that, or a piece of that in Rent, or it reminds you of it. So I guess I'll say Rent.
The show I most want to do at the Playhouse is a Little Night Music, which I've never gotten to do, but it is, the Playhouse is just this magical 20-acre canvas, but it looks like New England birthed a theater and a commons and a barn, and it's so beautiful. And going out on a summer night from the theater feels just how that musical feels to me, and I think it'd be perfect stage view for the season to come.
Ooh, would you do it inside and outside, or just inside?
Ooh, what if we did it? An idea is born. We'll find out. Stay tuned.
And Andy, what would you like to do?
Well, I want to do Eric's production of Night Music.
Yeah, me too,
Available.
I guess.
Yeah, you're Petra, obviously.
Yes.
And I just saw last night, I was lucky to see Cabaret on Broadway, which has me thinking about another writer is Cliff. I want to play Cliff in Cabaret very badly.
Oh, you'd be a good Cliff. I
Thank
can
you.
see that happening.
Thank you.
What would you like to bring to the Cape Playhouse that will change it, will change audiences, will make it a destination place?
That's a great question. And one of the major reasons I wanted this job is that our 100th anniversary is coming up in 2027. And the opportunity to restore, rather than change the Playhouse, but to restore it to its golden age. If you think about what happened in that theater, and that on that very stage, Betty Davis, Humphrey Bogart, Tallulah Bankhead, Jane Fonda crashed her car on campus. It's true, they say it's true. That the history of the American theater happened in that room. And the moniker came up decades ago that they say the Cape Playhouse where Broadway goes to summer, and I'm finding that it's actually very easy, surprisingly, to get some of the best and brightest people working in New York to come spend part of their summer with us, and to get extraordinary top list talent to come, as they have for generation after generation after generation, to come have an artistic experience for themselves, to create something they couldn't really do in New York necessarily, and for the audiences there who come from all over, from Boston, from New York, from all over New England, to have this very intimate experience, as Jonathan Larson had with the cast of Wizard of Oz, that is relaxed and free. That to me is the DNA of the place, and I think we have the opportunity with this anniversary coming up to restore the kind of glamour of that, that early mid 20th century feeling. And that to me is, what better way to spend a summer?
Has John Waters come up yet?
Has John Waters come up to the theater? I don't know. This is the weird thing. I got this job in September. I've been there 4 times. I moved there on June 1st for the summer, and I live here in New York with my family, and we'll be there in the summers. So people ask me questions about things I should know. Like, I don't even know where the coffee shop is. I'm showing up, like these guys will show up really being like, what do we do here? What happens here?
Oh wait, you're gonna have the biggest shock of your life. The hospital that's there is all the way in Hyannis. You have to go from the Cape to Hyannis to get to the hospital.
So don't have a medical emergency.
Yeah.
I did the show Bat Boy up there, and on our opening night, they decided to serve us lobsters and some other things, and I got violently sick. So yeah, I know a little bit about that place. But John Waters, Calvin Klein, you've got a lot of very famous people that actually live up there and go see shows. And
Cool.
During the day, Elaine Stritch came.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. I mean, there's a wall in the back of the theater you guys will see backstage that's 3 stories tall. 3 walls of the theater are posters from every show that the Playhouse has done, and it's of course hundreds and hundreds, and everyone has that old summer stock style with the name really large. And I find myself every time I'm there just staring at the walls and feeling the kind of ghosts of the American theater in this little quaint New England place. Really, the history of it is astonishing.
what other shows are you doing this season?
Next, we're doing a $1 Million Quartet that Hunter Foster is directing, and then we're doing a production of Beautiful, the Carole King musical that I'm very excited about. Then I'm directing the Sarah Bareilles musical Waitress, a new production, which I'm having the most fun creating. It's so great. And then Kimberly Senior is directing the 39 Steps at the end of the season. So 4 musicals and a mystery comedy.
Wow. Christina, what else is up for you this year that we can see you in, or we can see you working on?
Yeah, great question. I'm sort of, as actors, we sort of go in and out of things, and so I don't have anything like big that I can talk about right now, but I am on a cartoon right now that's a musical, which is great. And
What's the cartoon?
It's called Hazbin Hotel. It is rated R, so it's not a cartoon for children, but it is a musical set in hell, and a lot of Broadway people are on it, and it's a really fun comedy, like bringing together the worlds of animation and Broadway. So that's sort of like my main thing this year, and some other things that we will see.
Wait, who else is on this? I think I've heard about this.
Kind of everybody, yeah, like Erica Henningsen, Christian Borle, Leslie Kritzer.
I have heard of this.
Yeah, it's like a big grouping of us, and it's been really fun to sort of take that journey in a totally different direction from what I'm used to being here in New York, so yeah.
And Andy, what are you doing now besides this? Because you have to have at least 12 things in the fire that I know of.
No, I'm gonna be, enjoying my summer. I'm gonna be walking my dog. I'm gonna be between New York City and upstate New York, where I often live. And when there's something to share, you'll be the first to know.
And what are you in Claiborne? Is Claiborne coming up
Of
to
course.
do anything?
No, Clay's not going to be on the season. Clay's shooting the 3rd season of The Gilded Age this summer. So I said, if you drop out of a show because of a shooting date, we'll have to break up. So he's just going to be a dad, and he'll be shooting his TV show, and I'll be there all summer. But I'm also working on a writing project. I'm writing a new series for Audible, a scripted series about the rivalry between Bram Stoker and Oscar Wilde. That is my writing obsession right now. So I'll be typing away when I'm not trying to get people like these to come shine on our stage.
Are we gonna be able to see it this year at Audible?
No. I've been working on it for 2 years, and I think it has another year to it. It's a
Okay.
complicated historical project, but hopefully in 25.
Now, the Tonys are about to come up. Have you guys seen any of the shows that are happening? Do you have any opinions on any of it?
Yeah, I have seen a lot of things. I've been very lucky to see a lot of things. I think it's a wonderfully diverse season, really something for everybody. I had my mom in town recently, and I brought her to Water for Elephants, Suffs, and Illinois, which couldn't be more different from each other, but she loved all of them for different reasons. So yeah, I'm just very excited that like the volume of shows that are happening. It really feels like Broadway is back. I know we keep saying that every year. It's a little more true, and it's a little more true this year. I loved Illinois personally so much, just because I really grew up on that album. So it's just really thrilling to see. But then Water for Elephants is like a beautiful show for the whole family that my friend Grant Gustin is starring in, doing a beautiful job. And then Illinois is starring my dear friend Nikki James, who was Tony nominated for her extraordinary performance, and is, you know...
I mean, Suffs.
Suffs, yeah, what did I say?
I think you said Illinois.
I meant Suffs. There's something for everyone this season. It's a really good season, so go see a Broadway show. Stereophonic is incredible, I saw and loved. They were spoiled for choice, but so many riches.
You missed my two favorites, actually.
What?
Hell's Kitchen and The Outsiders.
I know, see, there's so much.
The
You can see a
Outsiders.
show every night and never get through it all.
The Outsiders, I think, has the most brilliant dancing I think I've ever seen in my life.
By the Cooperman brothers,
Yes.
right? Who are
And I've been in love with them since Alice by Heart, so
Mhm.
I like the same things, obviously, but this choreography, they fly.
Love.
And you're like, and they're all making their Broadway debut.
Cool.
So you're just like, whoa.
That's awesome.
What have you seen?
I've mentioned I have a 6-year-old son, and so mostly I work and take care of the kid, and we go to the theater when we can. But I loved Hell's Kitchen.
I did.
I didn't know that I would, and by the time they got to the big New York anthem at the end, I was like, I love this city. I love New York. It's so moving. It's so good, and the actress who plays Alicia Keys, is
Oh, Moon, something Moon.
astonishing.
Fabulous.
My God,
Mhm.
she's incredible. It's a joy to watch.
I think she actually might take the Tony.
She
I
might.
think that's how they're gonna give Hell's Kitchen a Tony.
Well, they've got 14 chances.
I personally would give it Best Musical, because I think the joy of New York
Yeah.
and bringing joy back to New York, plus it's bringing in a really younger audience.
Yeah.
But it's going to Suffs, because Hillary Clinton's the producer.
Who knows?
We'll see.
That sounds like a conspiracy
I'll make
theory.
you $1 million
I
for
don't know.
that. I think I've missed Tony predictions, maybe one. I'm normally pretty
Wow.
good at it.
Christina, what
What
did
have
you
you
like?
seen that you liked?
Oh, I have seen nothing. I was in LA until
no
literally
way.
24 hours ago, so I'm super excited to see some musicals I haven't, and shows and plays.
Let's
I
go
haven't seen
together.
anything.
Let's go see a show.
I would
Thanks
love
on a
to.
date.
Yeah, it's a really exciting season. I honestly have no idea where to begin and what I want to see first. There's so many good things happening right
Let's
now.
go see Illinois
Yeah, I would love to.
next week.
It's a wonderful show, it really is.
Yeah.
I saw it at the Armory. What were you doing in LA?
I was, we were world premiering our West Coast premiering Mystic Pizza the musical, which actually just got announced it's going to be going on tour, which is really exciting.
Oh,
So I did
good.
that, and then just stayed there and worked on season 2 of Has Been Hotel that Christian I told you, and
And you shot a movie.
I shot a movie. Yeah.
Oh, what
I've been
movie
a
did
Busy
you-
Girl. It's called Smile. It's an indie that'll come out next year, so really exciting. And I'm just happy to be back on stage and happy to be revisiting this piece, because I think last summer us putting this up was like one of my favorite things that I've done, you know, and just coming back together in this like post-pandemic theater world in like a way that felt collaborative and really close. And so I'm super excited we get to show this show to another group of audiences.
It is so fun. The rehearsal room, we've been in rehearsal for a few days, and when we were making this last year, I had this very unique concept about the show, and it is it's complicated, and it was very, I'm a very cerebral person, and to translate that out was so stressful last year, and it came together in this beautiful way. And this time it's just a love fest. We're like, the room is so joyful, and we're looking back on things we made a year ago, and we're changing them, making them better, and deepening things. There are sections that I'm like, I didn't even know that's what that song was about.
Oh, really?
Which it's been a long time since I've gone back to a show a year later. But it's mostly the joy of working with these two. It's just, I couldn't love two actors in these roles more. In fact, I should say, Andy, when I was asked to direct Tick, Tick, Boom at Bucks County, I called you and said, I will do it if you'll do it. And it's my first idea.
And I said, I'll do it if I can pick the rest of the cast.
And you actually did.
Is there anything that I haven't asked any of you that you would like our audiences to know?
You should know that these two know each other from way back.
Me too.
How did you meet?
Me and Andy did the first national tour of Spring Awakening in 2008 together. It was our first big job. It was your first big job, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah, and so we go way back, so it's really cool to be back on stage together as like adults.
And I mentioned that I am also a writer, and I wrote a musical that the American Repertory Theater in Cambridge produced in 2017, which Christina was the lead of. She was my leading
Wait,
lady.
what was that?
It was
Yeah,
called Burn All
yeah.
Night. It was this immersive club musical. It was staged in Club Oberon there. And yeah, Christina was
Yeah,
my
it was
leading lady.
really
so
cool.
this is a deep relationship that
Yeah.
keeps deepening.
Wait, was this based, the Club Oberon, was this based on the musical they did years ago on Midsummer Night's Dream?
No, we actually, the Donkey Show, we actually
Yeah, that.
recruited the Donkey Show out for a couple of months while
Yeah,
we
so
went
we
in
can-
there. Yeah, we were a whole new thing.
Yeah, I saw that when it first opened.
It's a great space.
Who did you play in Spring Awakening?
I was a swing, so I covered all the female ladies, and then in that original production, the ensemble sat on stage. If you saw the original production, so I was on stage, pretending like I wasn't in the show, and then appearing in the show. Yeah.
When does Tick Tick Boom open, and how can people see it?
Tick Tick Boom begins June 5th at the Cape Playhouse in Dennis, Massachusetts. Also, for all of my LGBTQ people, you can't get to Provincetown without going through Dennis.
Hey.
Come see us. And it's a classic summer stock run. It is 2 weeks, June 5th to the 15th. So come hang out with us.
I just remembered there's 2 questions and 2 things I would like people to know about you.
Sure.
You started 2 different organizations, one for LGBTQ people
Yes.
and another one about giving tickets away. Can you talk a little bit about
I
that?
did start 2 things. One, I'm the founder and was a founding artistic director of About Face Theater in Chicago, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary
Right.
next year, and it was a very pioneering, extraordinary thing to do when I was super young, and I'm so incredibly proud that it's still going. It's been working in the queer community in Chicago, particularly with LGBTQ youth, since 1999. That's when our work with kids started. And Claiborne Elder, my husband, and I have a nonprofit called City of Strangers, in which we receive donations from people and we find ways to get tickets to Broadway shows for people who would love to see them but can't afford it, which is a lot of people. And we work with, we do direct engagement, offer people through social media, but also work with a number of extraordinary nonprofits to get kids to the theater. We work with Wendy Wasserstein Project and TDF and the Arthur Miller Foundation and others. So far we've given away over 3,000 tickets,
Wow.
which we're really proud of. So cityofstrangers.org, check it out.
Very cool.
I think that's an amazing thing. This has been live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents. I'm Susanna Bowling. I would like to thank Magda Katz for videoing and always making us look good. I'd like to thank Romel Gopez and the whole team at the Hotel Edison for kindly giving us this space and allowing us to do this. Right now, if you are a playwright, there's an International Playwriting Festival. Go to newyorktheaterfest.com and you can learn all about it. We're looking for brand new plays. The winner will get a production done in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, I just read a play last night that I may actually take out of this festival. It is so good.
Wow.
I'm like stunned. It's
That's so
really
exciting.
seriously brilliant.